I came home today and did something I've done 1,000 times. I hung up my coat, I put my keys in the bowl, and I started to say, "You won't believe the traffic." But the words died in my throat because there is no one in this house to hear them. And today I realize there is no one left to call either. I'm 86 years old, and 3 hours ago I stood in the rain and watched them lower Arthur into the ground. He was the last one, the last person who remembered me when I was 20. The last person who knew the sound of my father's laugh. The last person who could look at me and see someone other than an old man. When you're 50, you think of the end as something that happens to you. You think about your own heart stopping. But nobody tells you about the other end, the one where the world stays the same, but the people who made it home simply vanish. 50 years from now, your bank balance won't be the thing that keeps you warm at night. Your professional legacy won't pull up a chair and ask how your day was. In 50 years, the only thing that will matter is whether you're sitting in a silence you chose or a silence you earned by being too busy to stay. I want to tell you about the mistake I made 30 years ago when I thought my friends were distractions from my goals. And I want to tell you what it feels like to finally have all the success in the world and no one to share a cup of coffee with. 30 years ago, this house was a battlefield of noise. I remember the sound of the phone ringing at dinner time. It was usually Arthur, or maybe Frank, calling to see if I wanted to grab a drink or catch the game. And I remember the specific sharp click I'd make when I let it go to the machine. I'd look at my wife or my children and I'd say, "I'm in the middle of a deal. I don't have time for the chatter." I wore my busyness like a suit of armor. I thought that every minute I spent laughing with a friend was a minute I was stealing from my success. I remember the smell of this room back then, expensive cigars and the metallic tang of a new typewriter. I felt like a king in here. I demanded a certain kind of silence so I could focus. I told everyone to close the door softly. I told the world to wait. I spent 3 decades pruning my life. Every time a friend asked for a Saturday afternoon, I'd look at my calendar and see a distraction. I'd trim that branch away. Every time someone wanted to talk about something small, their kids, their hobbies, their fears, I'd check my watch. I was so proud of my efficiency. But sitting here tonight, looking at this address book, I realize I wasn't building a fortress. I was building a cage. I spent 50 years perfecting the silence, and now the silence is the only thing that's left to keep me company. I realized today that I didn't achieve focus. I just achieved a house where the phone never rings, because I spent a lifetime teaching people that I was too busy to answer. The realization didn't hit me at the cemetery. It hit me an hour ago, right here at this table. I found this photo in the back of a drawer. I looked at the car we were leaning on. It was a beat-up blue sedan we drove to the coast in '68. I couldn't remember the name of the town we stayed in. I turned my head just an inch to ask Arthur, and the air in the kitchen felt like stone. That's when the math of the last finally added up. When Arthur died today, he took the only copy of my youth with him. You see, I've learned that we don't just lose friends. We lose the versions of ourselves that only they knew. He was the only person left on earth who knew why I used to be afraid of the dark, or what I said to my wife the night I proposed. To the rest of the world, I am a senior. I am a case study. I am a man with a cane. But to Arthur, I was still the kid who couldn't keep a secret or a straight face. I sat here with this cold tea and realized that for 50 years, I had treated my friendships like an optional extra, a hobby I could attend to once I'd finished building my important life. I thought the work was the structure and the people were the decoration. But looking at this empty chair, I see that I spent my life polishing the frame and completely ignored the masterpiece inside. I have a house full of things that don't know my name, and a heart full of memories that no longer have a witness. I've spent the last few hours trying to find the equation I used for 40 years to justify my absence. I used to think that being a provider meant building a structure so strong that nothing could hurt the people inside. I thought that every hour I spent away from a friend or away from a quiet dinner was a brick I was laying for the future. But I see the flaw in the blueprints now. You cannot live in a house made of later. It's a structure that provides no warmth when the winter finally arrives. I've realized that I traded the temperature of my life for the security of it. I have a very sturdy life. It is well-funded, it is organized, but it is cold. The mistake I made, the one I see so many of you making at 40 and 50, is treating your relationships like a task you can optimize once the real work is done. You think your friends will wait on the shelf like books you haven't read yet. But people aren't books. They are more like the air in a room. If you don't circulate it, if you don't let the noise of their lives mix with yours, the air eventually goes stale. And one day, you walk into that room and realize you can't breathe in it anymore. A crowded table is a form of wealth that doesn't show up on a bank statement. I used to look at a Saturday afternoon spent doing nothing with Arthur as a waste of my potential. Tonight, I would trade every promotion I ever earned just to have one more hour of that nothing. I've learned that success isn't a destination you reach alone. It's the sound of other people's voices in your hallway. If you've cleared the path so well that there's no friction left, you've also cleared away the only reason to keep walking. I know exactly what you're doing. You're sitting there, maybe with a laptop open or a phone in your hand, and you're nodding. You think, he's right, I should call them. And then you'll look at your calendar. You'll see the meetings, the deadlines, the essential tasks that keep your world spinning. And you'll tell yourself that next month, the water will be calmer. Your calendar only tracks your efficiency, never your emptiness. You've been tricked into believing that your life is a performance you're putting on for a future audience. You think that if you just work hard enough, you'll earn the right to finally be a friend. But let me tell you what it looks like from 91. That future audience doesn't exist. The only people who would have cared about your success are the ones you're too busy to talk to right now. Stop trying to be impressive. Start being available. 50 years from now, nobody is going to stand over your grave and read your LinkedIn profile. They won't care about the scale of your business. They will only care if you were the person who picked up the phone. They will only care if you were the person who remembered the sound of their laugh when the world went quiet. Don't wait for a funeral to realize that the noise you're trying to escape is actually the music of a life well lived. I'm David. This is 50 years from now, and tonight I want you to do something inefficient. I want you to close your laptop, pick up your phone, and call someone you haven't spoken to in a year. Don't text, call. Ask them about something small. Listen to the noise of their life. Leave a comment below. Tell me the name of the friend you're going to call tonight. Not for a deal, not for a favor, just because the silence is coming and you still have time to break it. I'll see you in the next one.